In this video, I'm going to go over some of the most important coverages to make sure you get when you're buying a homeowner's insurance policy. So we'll start with if your house is older, especially if it's over 30 years old, you need to talk about water damage coverage, meaning things like a burst pipe or a sink overflow or a toilet overflow or things like that. Flooding, rising or rushing groundwater, is an exclusion across all policies, and it's a separate policy that you'd get if you wanted rising or rushing groundwater coverage. Water damage, meaning a leaky roof or a toilet supply line pops off or other water damage like that, sometimes is excluded if the house is over 30 or over 40 years old. So make sure you talk about that with your insurance agent. And again, it's a big deal, and it's number one because half of all insurance losses are as a result of water damage. Ordinance and law coverage, make sure you get that at an appropriate percentage, typically 25% or more. Ordinance and law coverage is intended to pay for the additional costs of complying with building laws or building ordinances in your area, additional to what it would take to normally repair your building. So if the normal repairs would take $20,000, but essentially you have to make upgrades to comply with new building codes or new building laws, those upgrades or those additional things that are required to be done because you can't build the house to old codes would come out of this ordinance and law coverage. And it's typically done as a percentage of your dwelling coverage. So if you have a $100,000 house, 25% would be $25,000. Animal liability coverage. So think dog bites. It can be anything else regarding an animal. So if the dog runs out in the middle of the road, causes a car accident, that can actually fall under animal liability. Or if the cat scratches somebody in the eye, that kind of thing. Many companies will include it at a limited amount, $25,000 or thereabouts. A lot of them will exclude it unless you specifically add it back, and some companies will give it to you in full. But if you ever have an animal or plan to get an animal, it's important to bring it up. And some breeds, even if you buy the coverage, are actually excluded. So again, bring that up and talk about it with your agent. Replacement cost coverage on your personal property. Essentially, this is for your contents. The standard policy only covers your stuff at cash value, which is basically getting it used. It's important to get the replacement cost endorsement so that if something happens to your stuff, you can be paid to buy it brand new. Replacement cost versus cash value is essentially go to Target and get it brand new versus go find it on Craigslist. Get separate termite protection for your house. Damage by insects and vermin is excluded on the homeowner's policy. You can't buy an endorsement through your homeowner's policy that I'm aware of for this kind of thing. So make sure that you, once you buy your house, get a separate termite protection for your house. And most termite people will offer you a bond or an insurance in case the house is actually damaged by termites. And then lastly, if there's anything specific you want to make sure is covered, bring it up. Some companies have some really strange endorsements or exclusions rather that remove coverage or limit coverage. So if you own any single item that's worth more than $5,000 or any set of items that are worth more than $5,000, bring it up to your agent, talk to them about it, have that conversation at the beginning before you have a claim. Some companies have some strange exclusions, like I mentioned, for things like bicycles, tools, jewelry, cameras, coins, cash, all kinds of strange things. And I'll do a separate video about those exclusions later. But again, if you have anything in particular you want to make sure it's covered, bring it up with your agent. And as always, if you have additional questions about your specific situation, give us a call, send us a message on the website. We'd love to help out.